How many of you know that you have the potential to be number one at something? You truly know that if you gave something your all, you would be there, you'd be number one. But yet, you never have been yet historically as proof. That was me. I thought so much of myself when I was a young college student. I was 18 years old. They shipped me all the way to the West Coast, to Northern California, to do the prestigious summer program where I would knock on doors selling educational products door to door for the summer. But I will give our company credit. The company I worked with at the time, Southwestern Advantage, put me through intensive training for a week. They prepared me emotionally, mentally, and technically for this feat that I would go and do of working 85 hours a week, Monday through Saturday, 8 in the morning, knocking on my last door at 9:30 p.m. at night. But I'll tell you something, it was week 2 when Miss Jones slammed the door in my face. I left the house, sat on the curb, and I thought about what the hell did I get myself into? When I was in my second week selling books, I was the worst person out of 25 students in our sales group that summer. What I wouldn't know is that over the next couple of days, through incredible mentorship and coaching, I would be transformed from the worst in my group to being number one only 5 days later. And after that, I would end up elevating my confidence, my belief in myself that I truly can be number one at something if I really put my mind to it and my effort to it. But so many of us stop with the idea that I could be great and then never actually test our own mettle. So let's talk about at Southwestern Consulting what we've learned actually makes a top performer, because I believe that you can be a number one person too, but it's going to take some change. What we've come to realize from working with some of the top 1%ers in industries all over the world there's 3 things that they all have in common. Number 1, they've got skills. What does that mean they've got skills? They've got skills when it comes to selling. They've become total students of the game of that ideology, and they've learned how to have a really effective approach, building a relationship in the first 5 to 7 seconds with someone and becoming their friend. They've learned how to answer objections in advance. They understand how to cushion something instead of fencing their customers when they give them an objection. They close and move people to a point of decision. They understand the sales cycle, and they become students of studying it and being professionals. Number 2, they've got motivation, right? And not just sometimes, but consistently. Some of us are 20, 25, 30 years into our career, and our struggle isn't necessarily skills or systems. It's the fact that we don't have that fire in our gut that we used to have when we first started in the business. We don't have that fire to get out and do the grind that we did when we first signed up. And so motivation is critical to be a top producer, and it's what we see in the top 1%. And then the third thing is systems. You've got to be organized. You've got to be disciplined with your time management, and you've got to have great follow-up systems to be a top 1%er. And what top 1%ers do is they've got ironclad ways to stay organized, hold themselves accountable, systems to make sure that people and things don't slip through the cracks. But more than any of those 3 things, it's what goes in the middle of this equation, and that's the habits that you form. Some of you have performance issues because you don't have consistency in those 3 things. So what is it that we can do to actually transform our habits in these areas to become a top producer? Well, I remember after that 3rd week of the summer, my habits started to click in, but the only reason I overcame my past failures to form new and better habits about how I made decisions was because of the 4th and final thing, which is accountability. But selling books wasn't the only place that I learned about the power of accountability. I also learned it when I was a 28-year-old, completely out of shape, married to a 2-time national champion All-American athlete, and I realized I had to get my health under control. So I went to a Gold's Gym, I met with a personal trainer, he put me through an intensive test of trials and testing and weightlifting, only to sit down with me, look me in the eye, and say, "Adam, do you want the bad news or do you want the bad news?" And I said, "I'll take whatever you want to give me." He said, "Adam, the bad news is that it can't get much worse. The more bad news," he said, "is that you have the physical fitness of about a 48 to 52-year-old. Now that hit me like a gut punch when I was 28. But what he did that I will never regret, and am so glad he took the time to tell me, is he told me something that he knew I needed to hear if I was going to make immediate and lasting change. And over the next couple of months, he would meet me 3 times a week in the gym at 6:30 a.m. to make sure that I didn't just go and work out, I worked out hard. I got the cardio in, I got in shape. And here's the reality. Accountability might be a word that you have distaste for. I do too. But I can promise you one thing, put accountability around the parts of your life that you truly struggle, and it's gonna be tough, but you're gonna grow tremendously from it. So how do we make a transformation? In coaching professional salespeople and sales managers, we've realized the #1 way to make an impact and make someone a top 1%er is to put accountability around the things that truly matter in their business. How are you putting accountability around your practice? What's your accountability system to make sure you're forming better and different habits every single day, week, year? Share in the comments below, text me what you're doing, and share the good news with the world. Thank you so much for watching the videos. If you like what you see and you like the content, like it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, click that little notification bell, and if you just have good news or an impact that you got from the information, shoot me a text. I'd love to hear from you.